Welcome back to All Ball Podcast, where it's all ball all the time. You are here with your host, Sean and Isaiah. This is episode number 18, and today we're going to talk about how the game's officiating is kind of not good at the moment. Then we're going to talk about the Thunder getting absolutely destroyed last night and losing in historical fashion. But we're also going to talk about our Rockets having a 4-game win streak. And then after that, we're going to have Isaiah give a hot take. But before that, I just want to say thank you again. Y'all blew it up on the last episode. Y'all did really good, and we thank you for the support. But Isaiah, how you feeling today, man?
No, I'm not feeling very good, but the show must go on. But with that being said, though, I do want to get into our first topic about the refs, because a rather controversial, not necessarily controversial because this wasn't known, but because it wasn't explicitly stated by the referees before. But a rather controversial quote came out after the Knicks-Nets game, in which Julius Randle stated that the refs told him that because certain contact doesn't affect him that much, the referees don't make those calls.
Yeah.
And while it's not just Julius Randle, it's pretty much all of the bigger, stronger players. It's still something that I wanted to address, and thanks to him for bringing that to the public's attention, because that's really just not fair to the bigger players.
Yeah, I think that goes for guys like LeBron, Giannis, Jokic, and guys like that are, obviously above league average for height and weight.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it gives an advantage to the little guys.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it gives an advantage over them injury-wise, because if you're not giving those fouls to the little guys, or well, I guess you could say to the big guys, say like a charging foul.
Yeah.
Because if a little guy runs into you and you're Jokic, who's 7 feet tall or whatever, and 300 pounds, I don't know how much Jokic weighs, and he doesn't really move you, and the refs don't give that to you because you're so-and-so height and so-and-so weight or so big, that could like cost you, an injury. Like the thing that happened with, I think it was Markieff Morris, or was it? It was Markieff, right? That ran into Jokic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, say that was like, I don't know, Isaiah Thomas or something. And he accidentally ran into his leg, and he didn't really move him that much, but it still hurt Jokic. Is the ref not going to give him the foul call because it didn't really move him? It didn't really do much to him, like eye test wise, Or is I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me that you wouldn't give that call to every single player on the floor when your job is to officiate the game, like normally. I don't know how to. I can't think of the word right now.
Officiate it evenly across the board.
Right.
Yeah, and then I have to say that even outside of that kind of stuff, even with fouls like, the hacking, when people are swiping down trying to get steals when a big man's posting up stuff, where even like sometimes they'll push the guy in midair, and it's like, oh, because it's a little guy who can't do anything, so he just pushes him in midair. And like that kind of stuff, like you said, that could be serious injuries. Fortunately, It's not most of the time, but just the fact that the possibility is there. This is why fouls exist, to prevent people from doing stuff that can cause injury rather easily. But when you take that out because some guys are bigger and stronger, you're basically saying, we know that you're more likely to get injured doing this kind of stuff, but hey, you're bigger and stronger, so deal with it.
Yeah. And like these big guys, like you said, they have, a bigger injury risk just because of their weight and size. When these guys take falls, just because they're big, it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. They take some hard falls. Like,
Oh yeah, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
I think it was at the beginning of the season or in the playoffs of last year when KD took a really hard fall.
Oh yeah, he like fell on his arm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I thought he broke his
Oh
arm. I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
believe he
No.
got up that fast. But
Yeah, I thought for sure the way he fell, that arm was done.
yeah, but
Unless they injected him with some superhuman healing after that Achilles tear.
inject him with some lotion for that headache. but but no, I can't believe a ref would come out and say this to a player because, like I said, your job is to officiate this fairly across the board, like you said,
Mhm.
and I feel like that puts your job at risk. You know, like a player comes out and says that, like Julius Randle did.
Mhm.
I feel that just doesn't make sense for a ref to say that or a ref to even be doing that because if you look at it from a way that's not so much of a physical foul, like
Mhm.
um, a technical foul, are you going to give it to another guy that's this reason different and this not reason different? I don't know how to really explain it better than that, but
And the funny thing is, that's really something that they do too. Again, just like how before this they didn't come out and say it about the physical fouls. With
mhm.
technical fouls, you can see that they're more likely to give certain guys techs than other guys for doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, I think so too. I just think that the physical fouls happen a little more often just because it kind of seems more
But I
natural in the
but
game.
I mean that's because physical fouls happen more often in the first place than
Yeah,
technical
that's
fouls
why
do.
I'm saying it's more of a natural part of the game other than a guy like throwing his arm really hard at the ref or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like when LeBron is sitting on the court, he's not playing, and he could walk all the way to mid court to argue a foul that he wasn't even
A
for
part
his team.
of, yeah.
Yeah, like you should get a technical for that because you're not even supposed to leave the bench.
Hmm. Yeah, like sometimes like they'll get up and like partially run onto the court. When the coach walks onto the court, that's immediate tech.
Mm-hmm.
But for certain players, we got excited or we got a little heated about the discussion, but because they're a superstar, they can just walk onto the court. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not fair. But again, that just goes to show that whether they say it or not, the refs are constantly making biased decisions in the moment about who deserves to get a foul, when, and where.
So I want to ask you is all the fouls combined? Is it more of a popularity thing? Is it more of a talent thing? Is it more of a how Julius Randle kind of explained it of a weight and height thing? What do you think it mainly is?
If I were to kind of order it in terms of priority, I'd say first and foremost, they kind of they decide based on the popularity of the player
Mm-hmm.
on both sides of giving them fouls and giving them calls when they get fouled,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously you don't want to see star players fouling out of games. So sometimes they'll let them get away with certain things. And then on top of that, you don't want to see your favorite star player getting beat up for 48 minutes.
Right.
So a lot of times they'll give them those ticky tack touch calls too.
Right.
And then I'd say after that popularity, then that's where the size and weight comes in. Because I feel like unless a big guy straight up falls over or stumbles somehow,
Mm-hmm.
they will rarely give him that call.
Right.
So whereas with a little guy, it's like because they're moved easier than a big guy is,
Mm-hmm.
then they'll get that call more. And that's just the nature of how the refs do their job.
Yeah, I don't know. The officiating this, I mean, it's kind of been like this for a while now, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a little more questionable this year.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. But at least they did stop with, you see, and it's part of the problem is that they stopped with a lot of these offensive player initiating the foul. type of
Right.
calls.
Hmm.
But there's just been a lot of mistakes slipping through the cracks in the process of trying to cut those out of the game.
Right. Yeah, I'm so glad that we have that rule in place now,
Mm-hmm.
because it was kind of, not kind of, it was actually very excessive when
Oh yeah,
offensive player would do that.
it was excessive. It was annoying. It took away from the game, slowed down the game too much. Just it was not good for basketball.
Hmm. Wouldn't even allow the defender to defend like
Exactly.
normally.
Let's not forget the classic LeBron hands behind the back defense.
Ricky Rubio playing right behind James Harden defense.
Exactly.
But all right, man. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next
Wait,
topic.
before we move on,
Okay.
I did want to say one last thing, and that's on the subject of bigger guys getting less calls because of their size. That is something that I see in the more lower levels of basketball as well. Like even in the way that I play. For those of you who don't know, I'm a rather above average person, but when I play, a lot of times if I get hit on the arm or something, if it doesn't affect me that much and I just missed because I missed, then I won't take that call. But at the end of the day, it's just because I'm a random guy playing some pickup ball at a random location for no money and on a limited amount of time. These are people playing in front of hundreds of thousands of eyes or millions of eyes, depending on how many people are watching at home as well as in person. And they're playing for millions, tens of millions, and hundreds of millions. They cannot afford to get injured like I could with maybe like a sprain or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
But
can move on.
all right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the Thunder. Uh, getting completely embarrassed last night, losing by 73 points to, I don't even remember who they played.
It was the Grizzlies,
Yeah, it was the Grizzlies.
but
Yeah.
on top of that, it was the Grizzlies without Ja.
Okay, I want to ask you this right off the bat. Are the Thunder the worst team in the league at the moment? Because, for that 16-game losing streak, it was us. But is it now the Thunder? Now that we're on like a 4-game winning streak, we got some momentum. KPJ's playing a lot better. And the Thunder, blew a lead to us. And then the following game, they give up 73, or they lose by 73.
Oh, I believe without a doubt that it's the Thunder. And honestly, when we get into the Rocket section, I'll explain why I thought it was the Thunder even before
Mm-hmm.
we stopped our losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the Thunder, with their 6 wins, they've just been extremely lucky in the competition that they faced. Like if we look at the games they won, okay, they beat us 1 out of the 4 times we've played them already. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like, all right, you took 1. But then they played the Kings, who are in a weird spot right now, haven't been very good. The Pelicans, who have just been downright awful without Zion,
Mm-hmm.
with the exception of Jonas Valanciunas having that one crazy game where he went off for 7 threes.
Mm-hmm.
They played the Spurs, who are another kind of bottom feeder kind of team. And then they beat the Lakers twice.
I don't even know what to say about those Lakers games, man.
And you see, and that's the problem, because it's the Lakers, and we know how the Lakers are playing right now.
Yeah. Um. So you do agree that they are the worst team in the league right now?
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So how do I put this? Is there sufficient talent around Shea for them to win in the future? Other than I can't. Giddy.
I think to win in the future, yeah, you have Giddy, who's obviously a rookie right now, needs time to develop. They have the defensive GOAT, Lou Dort. Put him in the torture chamber. But yeah, they have those guys. They have Pokashevsky, who has shown some promise.
Mm-hmm.
I can't necessarily say where he could go because there's still a lot of things that he needs to clean up and work on, including his strength.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some solid pieces and a lot of good youth in that franchise. So it's possible. It just depends on how these guys can all fully develop to their maximum potential
Mm-hmm.
and things of that nature. I think at the end of the day, at some point, a lot of these young guys will probably need to get moved for some more veteran assets when it gets to that time where, all right, Shea
Right.
wants to win now.
Right. And is Shea good enough, or will he? Do you think he will be good enough to be the number one option on a team?
I think he could be good enough to be the number one option on a playoff team. I don't necessarily think he could be the number one option on a championship team
Mm-hmm.
or even a contender, but I think he could probably be the number one option on a 4, 5, 6 seed at best.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I could see that.
Because I don't want to see him be another, like, I know it's only 1 year, but like a Julius Randle where,
Mhm.
Yes, you're the number one option, but realistically on any other better team, you're probably the number two. Or no, I wouldn't say Shea's, not good enough of a scorer to be the number three,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of other great scorers out there that are better than Shea scoring wise. Shea does everything on the court. He defends, he play makes,
Mhm.
but you have Kevin Durant. If you add Kevin Durant, like, to that team, obviously Kevin Durant's gonna be number one option. So,
Mhm.
but that's something I've kind of thought about is other than Shea and Giddy, is there enough talent in the future, or has the talent that they have there already shown enough promise for the future that with what they have now, they can win a championship? And I've just kind of
Yeah.
gone
As
between
far as
yes and no.
championship goes, no. Haven't seen anything close to that level of promise.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think I've seen enough for a potential playoff team.
I could see playoff team too, and especially now with the play and stuff. But yeah, I think it's still going to take a couple years for that to happen.
Oh
Also,
yeah, for sure. They're still an extremely young team.
mm-hmm.
I believe they're the second youngest at the moment. So yeah, they have some time to work on what they have.
Right. All right. So you want to go ahead and are you done talking about that?
No,
Thunder.
I did want to bring up the actual game itself.
Okay.
I want to point out that normally when you see a score like this on a 2K game, for instance, it's because somebody was just cheesing with a singular player or maybe two players.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see those two players with loaded stats. But no, in real life, the Grizzlies decided, hey, we're going to evenly distribute this across the whole team. And anybody who was available to play came in and dominated the Thunder. And it's so sad to see. Only one person had a lackluster performance, and that is unfortunately Desmond Bain, who has been pretty promising this year. But imagine being that one guy on the team who came out and sold when everybody else was cooking.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably just have to bench myself. Be like, nah, man, y'all go ahead and finish this one out.
That's probably why he only played 17 minutes.
Oh man, 1 for 6. Mm. And even the what do you call it? The bench warmers even win like
Yeah,
fifty
no,
percent.
that's why I said everybody except for him.
Oh man, yeah, that's a little rough, but ah, mm. But all right, man, you want to go ahead and move
Yeah,
to the
we can
Rockets?
move on to our Rockets now.
They are on a 4-game winning streak. Can you believe it?
I just want to
They,
say I called it.
you
I
did call
called
it.
it. I said you told me who we were playing. I said, "Oh yeah, that could be a win streak right there."
Yeah, I think
And
we could keep it going tonight too. We play the Magic, who obviously are not that great of a
yeah, they're
team.
another bottom feeder team. We could take them. Come on, push it to 5. Push it to 5.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember this too about me saying we're a bad omen to the teams that we talk about
Mm-hmm.
badly, and then I was like, oh, the Rockets are gonna lose all the rest of their games, and ever since then they've also been on that win streak. So I don't know. I think we did something to kind of help them out there to help KPJ out become an actual point guard. But let's go ahead and talk about the players a little more in depth. But
Yeah, first and foremost, I just want to say, man, somebody needs to start a Garrison Matthews fan club for real.
yes.
Because Garrison Matthews, I don't know how he did it, but he has shown up and become like the shining light of hope for this team season.
Mm-hmm.
Just coming out, putting his body on the line on defense, hitting his shots on offense, just being there and contributing to great basketball.
Yeah, this man's like the physical Joe Harris. I don't know how to put it other than
You see, I sort of coined a celebration when he does something. I took
that.
the Hornets announcers, "Oh Terry," and I turned it into "Oh Gary."
I wish you could be saying that a lot because this man shoots
Oh
the
yeah.
ball really well.
Oh yeah, no, every time I see it, "Oh Gary."
Man, it's he. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up one of our top, leading scorers for the season, or even like top 3, because Christian Wood started off the season really bad, so he's only at about I think like 16, 17 points on the season.
Yeah,
KPJ
16.
KPJ, it's like I think 14 points.
He's at
Jalen
13, so yeah.
Green, Jalen Green has started off not good.
Yeah. I mean, he started off bad efficiency, but he's been
uh-huh.
putting up good like point total. So he's at 14.
And then I think the only person that would be like really close to them would be like Eric Gordon, right?
And Eric Gordon's at 13.
Yeah. So, and Garrison Matthews is at what? I don't
He's
know.
at 11.
11. If he keeps shooting the way he does, I no doubt in my mind he can end up like second best or second highest scorer on our team.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
And looking at the standings right now, we are 1 game behind, or well, like we're 1 win off of tying the Pelicans for second to last in our conference. I did say this at the beginning of the league. I mean, the beginning of the season. I did think this team was good enough to make it to the playoff game. And we've talked about how, not good the West is anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Could you still see them slipping into a playoff game as like the last seed?
No, still cannot see that. You see, I can see us topping the Pelicans. I can maybe see us topping the Thunder. I think the Spurs are where it gets a little tough.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Kings, I feel like that's just an absolute no, especially now that they finally fired Luke Walton.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so they're probably going to be a little bit of a better team than they usually were. But
Yeah.
if we look at the teams that are in that like play in, moving up, first of all, the very last team in the play in spot is the team with the reigning MVP.
Hmm.
So that's already a huge hurdle to try and overcome.
Yeah.
Because to get into a play in spot, we're talking about either pushing the reigning MVP out of the playoffs. We're talking about pushing potentially Damian Lillard, second best shooter in the league, out of the playoffs.
Hmm.
We have the Timberwolves, who have really turned it around defensively, which is something that's pretty impressive to me. And then the Clippers are the last team in the play-in spot. And even though they've been really weird this season, Paul
Hmm.
George is still Paul George.
Yeah, he's having a pretty good season. He's carrying that team pretty hard. Um, I guess maybe a more realistic route to actually make it into the playoffs would be winning our division. The
Mm-hmm.
four bottom teams, or I guess not the four, the three out of the four bottom teams
Mm-hmm.
in the Western Conference are from the Southwest Division,
Yep.
and then the other two are the 4 and 5 seeds.
Yeah.
Could you see us maybe with the Mavericks not playing that great this season, not up to how we expect Luka to carry that team, and the Grizzlies still being about average? Could you see us slipping into that 1 seed for our division?
Well, seeing as we're still the 15th seed and they're 4 and 5, I'm going to say that is a hard no.
Uh-huh.
The Mavericks have been lower than we expected them to be, but they're
Right.
still not bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Grizzlies, again, they're higher than people expected them to be. So
Mm-hmm.
already that's the tough hurdle. You have a team that's overachieving. Okay, now we have a problem. So when you have a team who's below expectations and still the fourth seed, and then a team that's well above expectations, yeah, I don't see how we're down here scraping and scrapping with the Pelicans and the Spurs,
Mm-hmm.
but we're supposed to take those guys. So I'm going to say a hard no on that.
So I will say that I do think the Memphis Grizzlies and the Mavericks are doing, or well, I guess they're so high in the rankings or the standings because teams like Los Angeles, well, both Los Angeles teams have not lived up to what they should be. And I understand that Kawhi's not there and LeBron has been out a couple games,
Mm-hmm.
but still, when you have Westbrook and AD, probably should be doing a little better.
Mm-hmm.
And Denver's had Jamal Murray out all season.
Mm-hmm. They
Michael
lost
Porter Jr.'s been,
Mike Porter Jr. recently.
mm-hmm. And even Jokic has been out with the suspension and stuff, so they should be doing a lot better in theory, I guess you could say. Portland, same thing. Dame was off to a terrible start, beginning of the
Mm-hmm.
season. Same thing with the Timberwolves. I don't know why they were doing so bad. They have a lot of talent there, at least in my mind. They should have been doing better. So that's one of the reasons why I attribute to why they're so up high in the standings. But at the same time, you win games no matter who you play,
Mm-hmm.
and you are where you're at. So they win the games that they win, and that's where they get themselves in the
Yeah,
fourth
and
round.
then at the end of the day, you maybe could have made that point somewhere around the 6 to 9 game area, but now we're looking at 20 to 23 games into the season.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, things are a little bit more solidified, barring major injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, you have to give them their credit. They're actually pulling it off, and You can't do anything except tip your hat to that.
Yeah, I guess so. At this point, like you said, it is kind of far into the season to kind of throw those injury things out there. But that's one of the reasons why I think they even were up there to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But was there anything else you wanted to talk about the Rockets other than just kind of the winning streak?
Yes, I wanted to use this winning streak to bridge into a hot take.
Okay.
Oh man, I just have to say it. We are a better team without Jalen Green.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Daniel Tice, and I was like, well, that's not even that hard of a take. Nah, no, 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 no,
I
no.
just want to
Come on.
say he's been out and we've been winning games.
Ah, come
I
on,
don't know.
man.
I just feel like if we're winning games because we don't have some dude out there shooting 3 for 14, I think that's not a coincidence. I like it. It can't be a coincidence. I'm just saying.
Nah, I can't. I have to disagree with you. I think it was more the Tice thing because Christian Wood has been playing a lot better since Tice left, and that opened up the floor. So if you think about it, that's going to open up the floor for Jalen Green too. It's going to space the floor out more. They're gonna. Nah, no, no, no. I can't. I can't. I shouldn't even be having to explain this.
You see, but you're talking about opening the floor for Jalen Green. The problem isn't opening the floor. The problem is that he's just taking shots that he's not good enough to make because the team's not really running plays properly for him. And then in a lot of cases, he's getting open looks and he's just smoking them. So
Look, I'll agree with you on the open look thing, but you have to you have to look at everything else. We have Christian Wood playing a lot better. We have KPJ playing a lot better now. We now have Garrison Matthews, who's doing a lot better. I think this will help Jalen Green out a little bit. I think he kind of came in with that mindset that he kind of has to do a lot more than he's expected to his first year. And yes, we expect him to do a lot his first year, but
that's part of the problem. He's trying to do too much and it's taking away from the rest of the team. You see, like I said, when he's coming out here shooting the most shots in the game sometimes, and he's missing more than half, more than 2/3 of his shots, it's taking away from the rest of the team's ability to get into rhythm.
man, no, man, I don't know, man.
I'm not saying we don't need him for the future, but as of this moment in this season, we are a better team when he's out.
Well, I'm glad you didn't say we didn't need him for the future because I might have had to walk off the episode for that one. But oh man, I don't know. That's a hot take. That is a hot take.
Listen. Jalen Green comes out. Who comes in? Garrison Matthews. What does Garrison Matthews do? He hits his shots. He plays defense.
I guess so, but we can keep Garrison Matthews in the lineup though. We can move EG out. EG doesn't need to be in the lineup. No, he doesn't need to be in the starting lineup. Let me clarify that.
If we're talking about winning games, the Eric Gordon does need to be in the lineup because he's been a really good contributor on this winning streak.
He has, but he can move to the bench and help out the bench unit too because they've been good too. But Jalen Green can start. Jalen Green can start and move EG to the bench.
Nah, that's the problem. I think Green needs to go to the bench. He's shooting too many shots that aren't going in. You get in the starting lineup when you earn that starting lineup spot. Just like the Pacers did with Chris Duarte. They pushed him to the bench because after his first game, he started missing his shots. So they're like, all right, you're not a starter anymore.
But then, okay, so then who does that push out of the bench?
It just moves Eric Gordon into the starting lineup and it pushes Jalen Green to the bench.
No, but then that's going to take away someone's minutes. Is it going to be Armani? I hope it's not Armani. Armani's been playing very well.
What do you mean? It's not taking away anybody's minutes. Like you can play like switch Eric Gordon and Jalen Green's minutes. That's what I'm saying. Like
No. I know. I understand that. Like,
Like
but
you're
because
talking about compared to now versus when he comes back.
yeah.
Oh, in that case, man, you already know who I'm saying. Take away Daniel House's minutes.
Yeah, I forgot he's even playing.
Take away
Yeah,
Daniel
get
House's
that guy out of
minutes.
here.
David Nwabu's minutes whenever he plays.
David Nwaba's played like 7 games.
Oh yeah. No, I'm just saying, like whenever he does play again for us, no, don't give him any minutes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess you have a fair enough point, but I still think Jalen Green should start. But because we need to develop him, and I think we're doing good enough that we can still win some games while trying to
and I
develop
think
him.
the best way to develop him would be to let him go to the bench and get more minutes against the lower rung guys in the league. Because having him play like this and then have to go against starter caliber players in the league, it's clearly not working out very well.
All right. Okay. This might be our new Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell thing, but so do you want to go ahead and wrap everything up, or do you want to give or do you kind of want to do that thing I was talking about, the trades, the 5 trades really quick, and you kind of just tell me was it really quick if it's good or not?
Yeah, we can do the quick fire trade talks.
All right. Well, all right. So there's 5 big trades that could shake up the NBA picture. This is by NBA Insiders. So Golden State Warriors add another star. Golden State receives Sabonis. Indiana receives Wiseman, Kuminga, Moody. For me, I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no also, but because that, for one, it kills the team's future that they clearly want to work on now that Steph is entering his mid-30s.
Mm-hmm.
Clay is in his early 30s, going to be moving to his mid. Same thing with Draymond.
Mm-hmm.
So this core that they've built championships on is getting older. So they're trying to focus on not having this long down period.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they'd give that up just for a chance to get Sabonis, who maybe helps them win 1 or 2 more championships when they're already looking like a championship caliber team as it is. And they don't even have their full roster at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I say no to that trade as well.
Okay, so Dallas Mavericks bring back Barnes. Dallas receives Harrison Barnes and Marvin Bagley. Sacramento receives Hardaway Jr., Finney Smith, Cauley Stein, a 2020 second rounder, and a 2024 second rounder.
Yeah, I'm going to say that is a hard no.
Yeah.
First and foremost, yeah, as soon as you said Sacramento receives Hardaway Jr., yeah, that's no. It's done. Hardaway Jr. is too valuable to how the Mavericks run their offense for him to get traded.
Yeah, that was a hard no for me too. When I saw Hardaway, I think Hardaway, other than maybe defense, Harrison Barnes brings better defense to the team, but Hardaway I think is a better shooter at least.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it's no for me too. Phoenix Suns bolster their front court. Phoenix receives Thaddeus Young. San Antonio receives Dario Saric. I can't pronounce that name ever. Jalen Smith, a 2024 first rounder, top 8 protected, and a 2025 second rounder.
Okay. First, That is way too much for just Thaddeus Young.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, no, that is, that is a horrible fleece on the part of the Spurs. But I think getting Thaddeus Young in exchange for Dario Saric, who's coming off an ACL tear, and Jalen Smith, who literally does not play for them, that alone should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, considering that, I mean, Jalen Smith could probably be a good backup 5 behind Pirtle for the Spurs.
Yeah, the first round pick is what already throws it off.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, Thaddeus Young's a good player, but I mean, is he really worth giving up? Like,
2 players and two picks. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's insane.
I think what this is more just like playoff teams buying heavy, like throwing in all the chips for one thing. Portland Trailblazers take a flyer on Bagley. Portland receives Marvin Bagley and a 2022 first round pick, top 4 team protected, converts into 2020 Kings second round pick and return of Portland's second round pick in 2024 and 2025. That's a lot to read. Sacramento receives Covington. That's it.
What? Oh,
I don't know.
Oh my! This is killing me. This is killing me. Why on earth do they think second round picks and Marvin Bagley are equal to Robert Covington? We're talking about a man who is one of the best defenders in the league and is also a very good 3-point shooter on a team that needs both of those. Why would they get rid of him for Marvin Bagley?
I don't know.
Bagley, he can't shoot. He can't defend. The team is already horrible defensively on a part of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. So why would you make them worse by adding Marvin Bagley in exchange for Robert Covington? Ridiculous.
All right, now let's go and get this. I guess this last one out of the way. Minnesota Timberwolves add high flying Nance. That's a terrible title.
This is
Minnesota receives Larry Nance Jr. Portland receives Josh Okogie, Jake Layman, and a 2022 round first round pick. The same thing happens though with the pick where it converts 2 seconds by if they can't use it by whatever.
Okay, now I want to say this is definitely the best out of these horrible trades, but I just don't feel like it's a significant enough trade to really be worth doing.
Right.
Okogie's an elite defender when he's really locked in there, so I see no reason why Minnesota would want to get rid of him, even though Nance is a very good defender in his own right. But I don't think that trade is worth it. It just feels pointless. I don't think it helps either team significantly.
I don't think so. I probably should have read these trades before I read them to you. But yeah, I don't know. None of these were good.
Yeah, that was probably the worst batch of trades that I've heard in my life.
All right, man. You wanna wrap everything up, I guess, after that?
Yes, we can wrap that up on the note of NBA insiders. You take the biggest L of the year so far. That was terrible.
Actually, one more quick thing, real quick. Just I guess quick yes or no. Okay. Is Kemba washed?
Yes.
Oh, poor Kemba, man. All right, we could probably get into that a little bit more next episode, but
we'll
I just had to know. All right, well, that's going to be the end of the episode. If you like the episode, go ahead and like and subscribe and comment down below anything y'all want to see or just how y'all feel about what we discussed today. Isaiah, any last comments?
Like you were saying, don't forget to leave some topics that you might want to hear us talk about. Again, we're very open to suggestions. Don't forget to check out the podcast Instagram, where you can also contribute your opinions or suggestions there as well at All Ball Podcast YT. And share the podcast with as many people as you can so we can keep getting this great support that we've been getting on the past 2 episodes.
Yeah, we really want to thank you for the last 2 episodes for the support. It kind of goes back to like how we had our first ever episode number 1. We almost got like 200 views, and then ever since then it kind of slowed down. But now that it's picking up, it's really starting to help us out again. So we really do appreciate that. But all right, well, we'll go ahead and catch y'all next week on the next episode. Later.